with the educated opinion on topics of all varieties. This your boy Bubba, and you already know what I'm about to say, right? You are listening to Bubba's Banter. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your motherfucking boy. I ain't gotta say no names, right? But I am in anyways. It's your boy Bubba, and you are watching Bubba's Banter. I know I'm being fucking like dramatic as fuck. Okay, y'all. So today is just gonna be a random, well, not random, because I pretty much planned this shit out. It's gonna be a response video to the Nene Leakes show interview with Madison. I really want to talk about this stuff because it's something that has been boiling within me, and I've been scared to have this conversation on my podcast because I feel like some of the feelings that I'm harboring can come off as very problematic, and I don't want it to be like that because I know y'all like to tussle. But I kind of have this issue with trans attraction. The label itself, not with trans people, but the label itself just sounds very like pick me almost. Like it's just, yeah. But before we get into the show, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. And y'all know, give me a thumbs up, please, if you like what I'm about to talk about tonight. And if you don't, still give me a thumbs up. My corny ass. Hit that share as well. Get me out there in the algorithm so everybody can tune in and listen to me. I do run a podcast called Bubba's Banter as well, audio version wise. You can click the link down there in the description box. You'll see exactly where I'm streaming at. But beggars cannot be choosy. They cannot. So if you do have Spotify, please make sure you listen to me on there because Bubba's Banter podcast is hosted by Spotify for creators, okay? So make sure you do that. Follow me on social media, which is The Real Doc Dre, Bubba's Banter podcast, and also Facebook. And yeah, let's get into it. Y'all ready to talk about this? So just a warning. The feelings that I have right now are not, the feelings of everybody, and I'm not trying to come off as transphobic at all. I promise I'm not trying to. But maybe I will by, some of the things I am going to say here. So, this is just a trigger warning right now. You could turn this shit off now, or you could just, dive in a little bit more and then, maybe hit me up after later or whatever. But I got some shit to say. Okay. So, Nene and Madison, this interview was really, really good. I love this fucking interview. It was really good. I really loved the whole entire interview. I watched the whole entire thing in one sitting, but there was the end part of the show that I really want to talk about. And I'm going to play a little bit of the clip, and we can walk with the clip, and, I'll pause here and there to give my commentary on what is being said. So Nene was talking about dating here, and this is where Madison switch that motherfucking conversation to make this go viral. And I love Maddie. I love Mother. Mother was strategic with this one because this was a conversation that needed to happen. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about it. Let's watch it. Let's watch it.
Several men at a time.
Well, if you meet somebody that's just good for me, let me know. Because
Would you date him if I know him?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, you see that? Y'all see that? You see that look she did? Well, would you date them? She answered that. She asked that shit quick as fuck. She asked that shit quick as fuck. She said, "Would you date them if I knew them?" And she did the face, and it looked at the other camera. I said, "Oh, mother, mother is a conversation starter."
Do you only know gay men?
Well, I don't date gay men.
Well, okay. Well,
and did you hear somebody in the background? Ooh.
when you guys be saying that, that's weird.
Why?
Because what do you mean you don't date gay men? Because if he is sleeping with you and sleeping with a woman, he's something.
Well, he's not gay.
What is he?
He's definitely not gay.
He's bi?
Listen, because if a man come in here and he looks at me and you.
Yeah. What is he?
Well, he likes women.
Yeah, because he doesn't know.
Or if
But-
and if he does know, he likes women.
Okay.
Now-
So, but what is he?
Well, that would possibly, it's a possibility. It's
He's
what,
bisexual?
he could be bi, or
So this is where the part of the interview where a lot of people are mad at Nene Leakes and saying she's transphobic and she's homophobic, and I don't necessarily think that she's transphobic or she's homophobic. She may say some transphobic stuff, or have some ideas of transphobia, but I think that a lot of times I feel like the conversation that Nene is having with TS is like she's trying to learn. And I think sometimes as a community, I think that pockets in our community sometimes do not allow people to want to learn. And I feel like sometimes we throw around these words when our feelings are being hurt. Sorry, I'm going to say that. Sometimes we throw around these words, where when our feelings get hurt because someone says something that they don't understand, it's like, oh, this person is being this. Like, I don't think that, that she was trying to be transphobic towards Maddie or discredit that Maddie is a woman. I don't think she's discrediting that at all. Now, personally, to me, I think both of them are right. Nene is right for saying she doesn't want to date a man who likes to participate in having sex with trans women. And Maddie is also right by saying when a man walks into a room and they see two women, they are attracted to two women because it's two women in that fucking room. They don't need to know about the genitalia part. They see a woman. That's not tricking them at all either. Because I know that's where the conversation is going to go with some of y'all. Oh, they're tricking. They're not tricking. The simple fact is that you see a woman and you're attracted to her does not make you gay. And I think that's where the conversation that we need to start having is about labels, which I'll talk about in a second. But, like, I don't think that, a man walking into a room and seeing two women and one happens to be a trans woman, it doesn't mean that he's gay. He sees two women. There's nothing wrong with that. He can always decline wanting to have sex with the trans woman if it was offered to him. But the simple fact is that you walk into a room and you see two women and you find each of them sexually attractive. There's nothing wrong with that at all. At all. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you gay. It doesn't make you bi. It doesn't make you pan. You see two women in a room and you find them sexually attractive, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Let's continue.
he could be pan.
Okay, what was pan? I forgot.
A
That means
pansexual-
you be whatever you like.
Hearts, not
Pan.
parts.
Right. So whatever you see you like, whatever I'm on, that's what I'm on today.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
You know, a lot of men are
Yeah.
a lot of men are pan, but they don't say anything. Like a lot
I
of
don't want to run into them. I don't want to date him.
Nene, if you've dated
I need you to like
Nene, if you've
Hello
dated
Kitty.
if
All
you
Now, you know what? This part of the interview I thought was funny. Like, some people didn't like it, but I thought it was funny. One, because I feel that throughout the whole entire interview, Nene Leakes is just being a character of who she is. And if you don't know who Nene Leakes is, because I know who Nene Leakes is, and I've never watched an episode of, I've seen 2 episodes of, is it Atlanta Housewives? Yeah. I know it's Housewives because there's multiple different shows of Housewives, right? But this one specifically, I know for a fact, I know Nene Leakes because of that. That's her stardom, But anyways, she's a character and she's funny as shit, and I just love Nene. I think she's hella funny. So, like, yeah, I think when she did that shit, it was just funny. It wasn't no shade thrown at TS. It was just like, what it is. And I think some women feel that way. But I also wish that women would realize is that most likely, though, you probably have had sex with a man who has had sex with a man and also a trans woman. Like, the likelihood of that has happened. So get over it at this point. Now, I understand that you only know it is probably what's going to bother you the most. But I bet you I can count on my hands, my toes, on your toes, and your hands that you probably hooked up with a motherfucker that has had sex with a man or a trans woman, I bet you any type of money in the world, because sexuality is fluid. Sorry. And a lot of men are curious out here, and a lot of men do have sex with, whatever can get their dick hard and get their dick wet and shoot that cum, they gonna have sex. Because that's just life. But anyways, let's keep going.
If you've dated men,
Yes.
there's a possibility in your life that
He's been with a man.
he's been with something.
Speaking mother.
He's
What do
been-
you mean he's been with something?
He's been
Speaking
outside. I mean,
mother.
here's the thing. I know that women consider trans women men because we were born male. But there's a difference between being man
and
and male.
I get it. But you have your part.
That's correct.
So he can love you and think you're so beautiful, and I want to sleep with you.
There are men who deal with me that won't touch my parts. Anytime you see,
But does he know it's there?
yeah, he knows it's there. I'm not hiding it.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I mean, that
'Cause, listen,
wouldn't make any sense.
Well,
for me.
I've had gentlemen to tell me, "Hey, put a pillow over that," and I'm like, "Well, you're not the nigga for me. You don't have to touch it and deal with it, but I'm not hiding shit from you."
So, okay, wait a minute. We got to go back and figure this out.
Yeah.
So the man.
Now we talking.
Yeah, so the man going to be.
Okay, so this is where I really want to cut that and just like really talk about what I'm feeling right now, because this is something that I've been having an issue with, is the label, I should say, trans attracted. So the reason why I feel some type of way about this fucking label is because it just feels off, y'all. It feels extremely off. It feels like, less than, like the lesser two evils. It centers validation for, straight men. It centers curiosity for straight men. And that's what leads, trans women into being a fetish. Like, honestly, you can say what you want to say, but when I hear the label trans attraction, it sounds like DL dude, DL thug lover. It gives that. I'm sorry. I think of BGC days when I think of trans attraction. If anybody says I'm trans attracted, it's just giving me like DL thug lover. Like it sounds like that. And I mean, yes, of course, this is my opinion, but it just feels that way. It leads trans women into being a fetish. It really does. And, I've heard plenty of stories from different women online, and also one in person, is that, a lot of these straight men who claim to be, let me re-say this, a lot of straight men who claim, trans attraction, they want the girls that are pre-op, because then when the girl gets it cut off, she's no longer special to them. They hyper fixate on the genitalia. And quiet as it's kept, straight men struggle with their sexuality at alarming rates. And we all know this, and we just don't want to have that actual conversation. We also, I have to say that we do not give straight men the space to explore their sexuality either. But rewind back, trans women are often being treated as a fetish. They are the special. Oh, you're the special girl. You're the special girl. You're special to me now because you have that part that I actually want. I want that dick. I want that part. And they start to look at the trans woman as the genitalia and not as the person. They don't see them for who they are. They don't see this girl for what she's about, her lifestyle. They see her for genitalia. Like, really, that's what it is. And even though Madison did say some of the guys that she's hooked up with, they make her put a pillow, on her dick or hide it. And she's like, no, like, you either gonna like me for who I am or you just not gonna fuck with me. And that's a real scenario as well. But it also is that scenario of these men being scared of being aroused by seeing a trans woman's dick, and especially Madison, because if you know her past, mama got meat, mama got bird, mama got bird, mama slang. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. Mama got burned, bitch. Mama got burned. Mama, she, she probably scared some motherfuckers. She probably did. Okay, let me stop. I want to keep this serious, but like, no, for real. Like, I feel like, they start to treat, trans women as a fetish, and it's like, so that's why when I hear that word trans attraction, it's just like, come on, bro. I know what this is. Like, I think it's different when men could just say, why can't it just be like, I love all women, included trans women? Why can't it just be that? Why does you have to have like a separate label, trans attraction, trans attracted? Like, why can't you just have like, I just like all women and that includes trans women as well? Like, it's that simple. And again, back to straight men struggling with their sexuality. That's really what this is. A lot of straight men struggle with their sexuality. There's a difference between having a preference and having a fetish. I prefer masculine, butch looking men. I prefer that. I prefer men who tend to lean on that spectrum of it, right? I really do. There's a difference between preferring a feminine man or, a trans woman because of the femininity, right? But when you start to fetishize it, like, oh, I need to have them to be feminine. They need to be feminine. They need to be feminine. And they need to be feminine. I prefer a masculine man, but I've had in between as well before. But I guess that's just how my preference works. So maybe I am, you know, talking out of turn, talking out of scope of what I'm feeling. But like, it's just like there is this like fetishization that a lot of straight guys deal with. Like, oh, I can never have sex with a man unless he's feminine. Because personally, I think the reason why they need the feminine part is because they need to think that it's a woman in their head. They have to psych themselves out. And that's where it gets scary. Maybe, I don't know. It's just weird. The attraction is just weird. Attraction is extremely weird, and it's very complex, and it's very, attraction is on a spectrum. So I'm not necessarily trying to judge. I'm just breaking it down from what I see and how I feel about this fucking phrase. It's just stupid. But I really do see that a lot of that trans attraction shit just comes from a place of fetishization of trans women. And that's really what it is, because they don't see them as a woman. They see them as a plaything. It's that simple. And I feel like that's the conversation that a lot of people do not want to have. They want to try to, straight men, I'm sorry to say this because let me get my shoulders unlocked a little bit. Straight men would do anything to hold on to that label of being called straight. They will. They fucking will. That's why they hold on to this fucking label, trans attraction. They really fucking do. You know that word that I like to use, the patriarchy and all this good shit. There is something about being a straight white man that society deems as high value. It's valuable. And anything outside of that, you are not normal. You're abnormal. You are not the norm. And everybody wants to fit in society. That's really what it is. Everyone wants to fit in society. I don't care what age you are. Everyone wants to fit in somewhere in society, right? And so as long as you can hold on to that label, that power, because there is power in it, because you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be treated differently. I said this yesterday about the pride thing, where I feel like a lot of straight men do not see gay men as being real men. They really don't. And I think they view all gay men as being flamboyant, pink-haired, gay, feminine, flamboyant men. Not that there's anything wrong with that, But I think when they see a man like that, they see a sissy, they see femme, they see less than, and they think in their head, I have to be like that if I'm going to be gay or mess around with guys as well. And they shame themselves into not wanting to explore or to even like something because the simple fact is what society is telling them to be. So maybe I'm wrong for feeling the way I feel, but that's just how I feel when it comes to this fucking label. Because you cannot tell me that that a lot of straight men do not want to hold on to this title, because when they hear trans attracted, they think, oh my God, I'm just trans attracted, so I'm still straight because technically it's a woman, but will vote against a trans woman being able to use the goddamn bathroom. I'm telling you right now, there are men out there who are trans fucking attracted, but swear up and down that trans women are going into the bathroom to have sex with your kids. Like, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I'm sorry. And I know like a few of them. Girl, don't even get me started. I don't want to drop no tea. But it's just crazy to me. That's what I'm saying. When I hear that fucking phrase, it just burns my fucking ass. I'm not jealous. I'm not feeling some type. I'm just like, I feel really, concerned for the girls, because it's like, these dudes don't really want you because they want you for who you are as a person, or to date you or whatever it is. It's the simple fact is that you have that part that they can, that they like, and that they are ashamed to admit publicly that they like you due to the fact that you have a part down there and they like that part. They're ashamed to admit that they like trans women publicly, and that right? So they want to keep you in the closet. They want to keep you hidden. They don't want to have anything outside of just like a sexual relationship with you. And quiet as it kept, Malik Yoba, when he came out as trans attracted, again, I think I said this. If I didn't, I'm saying it now, is that when Malik Yoba came out as trans attracted, best believe if he did not get outed, he wouldn't be talking that shit on the Breakfast Club about being fucking trans attracted. He wouldn't be talking about that. He wouldn't be all, oh, let's talk about trans attraction. That motherfucker would keep that shit quiet, because there's a level of shame that comes along with having sex with something that's outside of a biological female. Period. That's why you have some straight dudes who would have sex with a stud, because she still got that genitalia down there. Regardless of her being masculine, she'll have sex and fuck that genitalia, or he'll fuck that genitalia. That's really what it is. He don't care the fact that she a masculine stud. He see pussy and big titties. That's all he care about. Like, I'm telling you, bro. Like, sexuality is complex, and I wish we would get to a place where we need to understand that. And sexuality is fluid. But I feel like we have things like religion, society, and all these things that get in the way of allowing people to just live their life and be who they are, because we only get one. As a gay man, I even see certain things as gay men where, this is crazy to say, but I'm going to say it, and I probably shouldn't say this, but like, I think about even gay men who have a hard time with, just being themselves. We have been warped into believing that we have to be heteronormative. We have to be heteronormative. I see it all the fucking time when I see gay dudes who talk about, oh, I don't have any gay friends really. All I do is kick it with straight guys or straight women, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any like gay friends, or, they want to dress in like Carhartt and act like they fucking been on the construction site and they never seen one a day in their fucking life besides them driving past one. Just fantasizing about being a construction worker. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a blue collar lover. I love me a blue collar man all motherfucking day. I do. But I see a lot of men a lot of gay men who jump in the profession. They jump into business to create this image to look a certain way, to be able to validate their sexuality. Like, look, I'm a butch gay man and I'm just regular, dog. As if them being regular, like seeking that validation from straight men. So I get it. Like, I really fucking get it all day. Society has fucked a lot of our heads up and how we see ourselves and how we live our lives. Because even myself, I struggle with a lot of fucking shit. So maybe I am out of pocket for even having this conversation, but I'm gonna have it because it's what I'm feeling, and I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had. So, um, if you feel some type of way, let's have a conversation in this in the comments, please. Like, I really want to talk about this because I feel like it's such a complex conversation that needs to be had, and I don't think that one person is wrong or one person is right. I feel like we could sit back and actually just have a really good conversation and express how we feel about this thing, trans attraction, because my opinion, I think it's fucking trash. I think it's a really bad label. I don't really like it. I think it's really fucked up. I think it's demeaning towards trans people in general. But that's me. Anyways, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, please. Also, give me a thumbs up. Click the link in the bio. You'll see exactly where I'm streaming at and all those good things. Also, you can follow me on all my social medias, which is The Real Doc Dre, Bubba Spencer Podcast. And y'all look out for my podcast next week, all right? I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.